This person wasn't a guest at the Banff Springs Hotel. It was just a young girl, and she was very pleasant, and she sneaked in and out of the garbage entrance because it just created too much of a fuss if she went in the lobby. And then when she was leaving, she said that she would put on a show. She was there a long time, many weeks, put on a show for us, for the staff, because we were so good to her. I couldn't go, I had to work that night. But a few days later, there was a bulletin board. There were the pictures everybody had taken. It wasn't the person that had been staying in the hotel. In 1962, Ralph Greenson was arguably the best-known psychoanalyst in the U.S. He had written the standard textbook on technique used in the American Psychoanalytic Institutes and had a high profile in psychiatric politics. He was also Marilyn Monroe's psychoanalyst. Marilyn was his patient, and medical ethics dictates that he shouldn't even have acknowledged that she was his patient. An unprofessional madness had taken hold of Greenson. Somewhere along the way, he'd forgotten the technical guidelines that help us evade error. And he's the one that wrote the damn textbook. I mean, he was one of the names that everyone respected. And they listened to him talk about patients like Marilyn Monroe, you know, that they need to be babied and nurtured, and they don't need to be nurtured. They need to figure out why they're doing things that make them unhappy. This rescue thing that you're doing is very standard, a platitude, saving maidens in distress. Our job is to listen with the third ear, to not take the patient's words literally, to stay meta, devise new readings of what she is saying to you. This will set an example, teach her that she can also unsettle her own mind. But I'm sorry to say that you're letting the opposite happen. She's getting you to team up with her, to hang on to a destructive cliche. In the current fashion, it is improper for a patient and a doctor to fall in love and to get together and to be sexual. I know I'm old, but it's not that long ago that I remember reading papers that advocated sexual intimacy with patients. Give the experience a wholesome experience of love and sex. I don't believe in giving patients wholesome experiences. I believe in thinking. Tell her something she already knows, but that you and she are pretending not to notice. That she is so skilled at her way of life that even you, an old hand at the psychiatric game, are powerfully affected, enthralled to her, her doting caretaker, perhaps romantically enslaved as well. Although it's true that you are in a way her slave, Miss Monroe will also see that you aren't surrendering to that you keep digging, poking, pushing, in a sense, raping her usual ways of thinking. Concerned? Yes. Mollycoddling? Definitely not. Point out that she is stubborn, determined to live out her old stories, but that by your actions and words you will show that although you'll watch, you are determined to stand for new ways of thinking, ones she's never thought of before, ways you haven't thought of before. That our patients portray themselves in certain ways is one of the most important things we psychiatrists have to keep in mind. That doesn't mean I would have been able to help her. I don't know whether I would have been able to help her, but I wouldn't fall into that trap of treating her like an infant, which is what he did. If you work in the university, you have to be a politician, so you have to be friends with all the important people all over the country.